And again, this seat that you take can be either on the ground, in a chair, whatever works for you. And I'm gonna go back and take my seat with Diego. I'm gonna plug in a different speaker that might sound, you can hear me a little better. And a wall spot, if you know of a wall spot you're gonna be able to use for some shoulder opening after we sit. All right, so, whoops, I forgot my glasses, which makes it difficult to see you. I would like to be able to see you. All right, so taking a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you today. If you're seated in a chair, just take a moment to look down at your feet and make your feet parallel. And also if you're seated in a chair or on a stool, scoot to the front of it, the front of the chair seat, so that you can really engage through the ground. No matter where you happen to be seated this morning, can you find how the tissue meets whatever it is you're sitting upon? So sometimes we can notice a difference between the two sides as we take our seat. And then lengthening your spine. Relaxing your shoulders. And beginning to deepen your breath. And just spend a little awareness too about, even though you're seated on your sit bones, just notice the back of your body, the back of the pelvis, your upper back. And you might have the head slightly tilted down, that's fine. Just more awareness about the back of us. We tend to sometimes lose an awareness about the back body. And that can often help us to stay grounded. And then you're welcome to drop into your Ujjayi breathing, where you have the tip of the tongue behind the upper two teeth, a hollowness at the back of your throat, and some tone at the back of the throat. And if Ujjayi, if even pondering that is too distracting, simply drop into a balanced inhale and exhale. And then at the bottom of your next exhale, go ahead and release any control on your breath, but still staying present with how your body is being breathed. And then bringing your hands together in front of your heart. This morning, we'll open the practice. I'll chant the sound of Om. So that vibration of sound moving all the way up through the chakras, through the central channel, all the way to the roof of the mouth. And then sing Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings in all realms find peace and happiness. May my words and actions support this. And feel free to join me as you take a deep inhale. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. And with your next exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart. Release your hands and lift your gaze. So to start our practice this morning, we're gonna go ahead and come up to standing. So if you're seated on the ground and you're gonna make the transition to standing, you might consider doing that without using your hands, just so you're using more strength of the legs. Otherwise, you can use the hands or blocks to help you. But we're gonna come all the way up to standing. And then in standing, so we'll move our, whatever we were seated upon, you can move that out of the way. All right, and then let's just take a stance. We're gonna start to just move the body. So a little bend to the knees, feet are a little wider than hip distance. And the hands, as we're turning and the arms are swinging, the hands are just tapping the body. So just noticing the hands tapping the body. And the breath in through the nose and out through the nose. So we're gonna add the exhale going out the mouth, a forceful exhale, like the exhale when you blow out a candle. And you can join me when you're ready. We'll push the hands. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly you let the body come back. Deep breathing through the nose. All right, great. And then step the feet back toward each other, back toward hip distance. And we're gonna take 3 short inhales. So the inhales are gonna be, I'll make a fist. There'll be 3 quick inhales through the nose. So it's gonna be, and when I exhale, I'm gonna open my palms. I'm gonna bend both knees, exhale out the mouth. And that exhale can be an audible exhale. All right, so here we go. this is gonna be your last one. When you go down, stay down. The arms might still be swinging, they just slow down. And then with your nice inhale, lengthen the spine forward. And exhale, bow over the legs. Let's inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, hands back in front of your heart. Great, release both arms. Okay, so let's open through the front of the chest and shoulders. So if you'll come to a spot, a wall spot that you know you're gonna use. So I can come over here and let's take the left arm up. The left arm up. So when I take my left arm up, I don't need to be smushed close to the wall. I'm gonna take my left arm up at about 10 o'clock and turn both feet to the right. And then I'm gonna step my left foot forward slightly and my right foot back slightly. It's not a huge stance. Now notice we talked about the upper arm bone, but you're gonna nestle the upper arm bone into the joint, into that glenohumeral joint. Okay, lift at the top of the breastbone. And reaching all the way out into the index finger knuckle and all the finger pads. The right arm is relaxed. Just making sure that my upper left arm bone is nestled back in there. It's not coming forward. I'm not stretching through the joint capsule. But I am engaging them all the way down into my feet, all the way down. What happens when you reach all the way down into the right heel, the ball of the right foot, all the way up into the left arm. All right, then we're gonna turn towards the wall, release that arm, all right? And then you'll take your other arm up. So again, you can face the wall. Diego's like, what are you doing? 12, 1, 2 o'clock. The distance I am from the wall, I choose based on the ability of my thoracic spine, my upper back, to stay vertical, so that I don't side bend when I'm by the wall. I'm a distance that lets me stay vertical through the spine. The right hand up there. I want to make sure my right upper arm bone is in the joint, nestled back in there. And then I'm going to start to, can you lift at the top of your breastbone? Can you go into the space between the breastbone and the upper right collarbone and lengthen that? And the breastbone all the way to the upper right arm bone. What's happening in the left foot? Are you still reaching into the ground? How does that influence what happens through the right arm? And then we'll exhale. You can bend the elbow, turn back towards the wall. Let both arms dangle. Let's take a half Uttanasana at the wall. So you stand with the arms, the wrists are about the height of your shoulders or slightly higher. They don't need, but please don't lower your hands during this. Step the right foot back, the left foot back. And then taking, pressing into the hands again, lifting the rib cage up to meet the front of the shoulders. What about at the back of the diaphragm? If you feel like the inner body organs are falling to the ground, I want you to lift them up just to meet the front of the spine. The ears are probably between the arms. Mm-hmm. All right, and then let's walk towards the wall. Let's walk towards the wall. Move this out of the way. And then can we take one more piece here? We'll open the calves and also the upper back. So you're gonna take the hands to the wall again. And this time, let's step right foot back, and we're gonna have the right foot turned slightly out. Right foot back, left foot is forward. Like warrior one, legs, like the foundation and the legs for warrior one. I can turn on these lights, if that makes it easier to see. And then start to walk your hands up the wall. Bring the left shin forward. And you might notice when you do that, do you feel the interior, especially around the lower ribs, that upper low back behind the belly button? Do you feel that falling forward? So lift it back. Can you find the back heel? When you take the back of the diaphragms that help you find the back leg, arms walked up, are up the wall, reaching all the way back into the right heel. Okay, great. And then we'll let the arms come down. We're gonna step the left foot back. It has a slight turnout, right foot forward towards the baseboard. The gaze can be straight ahead, and then you can walk your hands up the wall. Inhale deeply and exhale. Bend the right knee, so right shin comes forward, but keep reaching back into the left heel. And then can you also reach from the back of the left kidney, which is right about at the bottom of the ribs, behind the belly button, reach that into the left heel. And then lift the gaze up, so the gaze might start, it might be still below what would be the horizon, but can you remember about, you're still reaching back, lining the back body. Where's the throat center? All right, and then slide the hands down the wall and walk towards the wall. All right, so let's take one more stretch with the wall, please. You're gonna take, you can stand about 8 or so inches from the wall and take your hands back on the wall, just the palms to the wall. All right. So this is like Purvottanasana with our hands on the wall, pressing into the wall. A lot of strength right now. Lift through the top of the breastbone. There might be, you might feel your triceps. You might feel some heat along the side ribs and the back outer armpit area. All right, and release that. And then you can come back to your mat spot. Let's grab your blocks. And we'll bring those to the top of the mat. And bring your hands in front of your heart. And again, can you notice where is the weight falling in your feet? Find the heels. Lengthen up through the crown. Release the arms. Inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step the right foot back. That'll be a low lunge. Balance the weight in the hips. Okay, strong at that back inner thigh, right above the right knee. Strongly reaching there. You might start to come to your fingertips. And then lift your torso away from the ground. Take the arms out wide. Inhale, lift your arms. Inhale, the arms wide. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, step your left foot back. Come to fingertips. Okay, so reaching back into the back leg. Start to take the arms wide. Inhale, come up. Inhale, lift your arms. Inhale the arms back out. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, let's step forward. And exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands back in front of the heart. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, upward hands pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, right foot back again. Inhale, upright. Are you still, as you transfer upright, are you still strongly reaching into the back leg? You might bring the arms along the ears. Inhale the arms out. You're going to exhale, plank pose. All the way down with your exhale till you arrive to plank. Inhale in your plank. Exhale, lightly touch the knees to the ground. And with your next exhale, bring your chest down. Inhale a little cobra pose. So lifting through the top of the breastbone. Exhale, lower. Inhale, all fours. And exhale, either puppy pose, where you walk the hands forward. Puppy, the hips are still high. Or downward facing dog. Puppy or downward dog pose. Don't rush it, but at the bottom of your next exhale, step your right foot forward. You might want your blocks. You want the ground to be a little closer as you make that transition back to an upright lunge. Inhale the arms out. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, stepping forward. And exhale, fold. Let's inhale, rise. And exhale your hands back in front of your heart. All right, and then let's go ahead and we're gonna step towards warrior one. So we did like a version of warrior one when we were at the wall. Now if you go ahead and step your right foot back so that the feet are hip distance wide. So that when you step back, you didn't cross the midline. Your right back legs turned out slightly. The two hip points are pointing forward. All right. Let's remember this reach into the back leg. Yeah. And then we're going to inhale, take the arms up. And exhale, bend the front knee, bring the left shin forward. I always notice my stance is too short. So find the back heel, the right heel, the right inner thigh right above the knee. And keep that toned as you lift up, warrior one. And then we'll straighten the front leg, release the arms, step forward. Second side, left foot back. Now make your stance long enough. Fingertips might be on the top of the pelvis to start. Inhale deeply, release the arms. We'll inhale, lift both arms, and exhale. Bring the right shin forward. I'll just come and watch. So you're bringing the right shin forward. Are you still reaching back into the left heel? Good, yeah. As the top of the breastbone lifted. Is the front knee just behind the front ankle? Make sure the front knee is not in front of the front ankle. Do you really want to find that back heel? Yeah. And then we'll straighten the front leg. Good. And step forward again. Great. And then let's turn and take a wide stance. If you know you need blocks, put your blocks in front of you there, hands up on your hips. Feet are parallel, inhaling, and as you exhale, bow forward, wide-legged forward fold. Knees straight, please make your knees straight. So use blocks if you need them so that the knees will be straight. And then let's take this to a twist. So the space between your two hands when your wrists are under your shoulders, you can either bring your block into that space with your right hand on it, or if you're not using blocks, then just put the right hand in there. So either way, but whatever you choose, let's take left hand up on the hip, lengthen through the crown of your skull, inhale deeply, and exhale. Let's start to turn towards the left by reaching strongly down into the ground. So you're strongly reaching into your right hand from the back of the right shoulder blade. And then exhale, release to center. Switch the hands. So now the left hand's at midline, the wrist will be under the shoulder once you twist. Right hand up on the hip, inhaling deeply, exhale. Reach into the ground and rotate. Pelvis is staying level. I'm still strongly reaching into the feet. And are you, especially as you're turning to the right, you want to really find the left heel. Stay connected into the feet, reaching through the hand, the arm. And then we'll exhale, come back to center. Inhale, there the hands are on the ground, spine is long. Let's exhale, just fold in. Inhale, halfway up. Great. And then can you walk the hands out like downward dog arms? Bend the knees. You could step the feet toward each other, bring the knees to the ground, and take child's pose. Great. And then walk the hands back up. All right, so I want to give you a couple options. Let me make sure this is tilted down enough that you can see. From being on the ground, it'd be on the ground. And I want to give you the option of pigeon or figure four. So if I'm going to take a pigeon pose, I like to take a blanket that's going to go across, that's going to support my front leg. All right, so if I've decided, yes, I'm going to do pigeon, when I do, sometimes I like to go, I'll even go from just even a brief downward dog, right knee off to the right. Right knee is farther right than the right hip. And I'm just going to come down on my forearms, or maybe down farther. Oh, and I could take a blanket or a block. A block is a little too high. Let me grab another blanket to support the right outer hip. I'll move those guys out of the way. So I might like having a little support under this hip that's being stretched. So there's this version of pigeon. If your knee is not happy about pigeon, then you're going to come onto your back and take the little toe side of the right foot, to the upper left thigh. Shift the weight a little bit to the left, and then bring the left knee up. So you'll be in this figure four. You're either going to be pigeon or this figure four with the little toe side of the foot at the top of the left thigh. And I'm going to encourage you to use the strength at the top of the left thigh to bring the left knee up. So you're not just pulling with your arms. You don't need to pull with the arms, but you're going to use the strength at the top of the left thigh to bring the knee closer. All right, so we're either in a pigeon or a figure four. And in the figure four, so Lynn Rear, can you take the little toe side of the foot instead of the ankle to the top of the thigh? Yeah. Good, great. All right. And then let's, if you're in the figure four, go ahead and let that go. If you're in pigeon, you can, let that go. And let's take your second side. So if I'm in pigeon, I'm going to take my left knee off to the left. My left shin is not parallel. It's at an angle to my mat. I might need another blanket to just go under my left outer hip. So there's my pigeon. If I'm taking figure four, can you make sure that the weight is a little more to the right of the sacrum, not on the stretching side, but away from the stretchy side? Are you allowing the tone in figure 4, the tone at the front of the right thigh, to help you get the right knee closer to the chest? So you're not just yanking with the arms or letting the arms hold the leg entirely. You're getting some help from the front of your right thigh. People in pigeon, are you? Let's see, in pigeon pose. Can you just take a moment and tuck the right toes under and lengthen from the right low belly all the way back? Then you can rest the top of the right foot on the floor again. I do like having a little blanket under that hip that is getting a stretch, because it just adds a little support and a little bit of like feedback. All right, and then we'll all come out of our stretch, and then let's just sit for a moment in Dandasana, both legs straight. Just for a moment, straightening both knees, both legs. All right. Great. Now, what about, trying to think how many of you I've seen do Supta Virasana before, or a stretch for the top of the thigh. Maybe I'll save that one for a moment. We'll do it tomorrow. But today, right now, we're going to go ahead and take Marichyasana 3. So we're just taking a simple twist. We don't need any support. We'll just go ahead and bend the left knee, right leg straight. We're going to do a little twist towards the left. But this won't be long. We're just taking a breathe. Okay, we're going to come back. Let's take the second side. So right hand behind you. You can either hold the outer left knee or take an elbow as you, so the knees in the crook of the elbow as you twist toward the right, toward the bent knee. All right, then let's release that. Let's take, just open the top of the thighs, so that we'll be ready when we come down into bridge. So let's take a blanket to support the knees. Make it really nice. And then a couple blocks. And let's step the right foot forward. Right foot forward, left knee on blanket. Right knee in front of the right ankle. We'll walk the blocks back. Walk the blocks back, and I like to, make a little bend in my elbow, so I often come to my fingertips as you let the right knee go forward and soften the middle of the left thigh towards the lower left thigh. Lift through the chest again. And then let's press back. Second side. So we're just opening the front of the hip, and that correlation with the lift at the chest. So sometimes I like starting a little forward with my hands. So I'm just getting situated. I'm putting a little more slack into the front of the back leg. All right, and then I walk my blocks back. Let the left knee travel slightly forward of the left ankle. As you soften the middle quadricep towards the lower quad, opening the front of the right hip, the right thigh, lifted the top of the breastbone, just like you did when you were at the wall. All right, and then let's reach that back. Let's take either downward dog or puppy for a moment. So if you take puppy, just walk the hands forward, pressing firmly into the ground, or downward facing dog. All right, great. And then we're gonna bring the knees down if they're not. And let's move the blankets out of the way. We won't need those right now. But we've got you've got a block or your little ball or a towel or a pillow nearby. So that we're gonna come onto your back. I can show it to you first if you want, so that in case you can't see, what we're gonna do is a little series of some bridge poses. The first ones we'll do are gonna be, we're just gonna take the hands into a robot pose. And we'll lift the pelvis. We'll just kind of check out, is the shin vertical? I don't want any weight on the neck, on the cervicals. So if there's weight on the cervicals, you're gonna want a blanket under the shoulders. And we'll come down. When we go to doing a little work, we'll take a blanket, a block, or a ball between the inner thighs. And then we'll go back and we're gonna squeeze the inner thighs. Tone the inner thighs, reach them toward the knees. We'll be there, then we'll come down again. Then we're gonna do one where we go up. And we'll see, can we keep the pelvis level and pick up one knee. All right, so we're gonna do a little series with that. So if you know that you need a blanket under the upper back, because to protect your neck, your cervicals from any weight, you can put a blanket right under the shoulders, head is on the ground. So there won't be any weight on the cervical spine, only at the very, very base. So you're welcome to add that if you like. But we'll come into, here you are, both feet are on the ground. We're just gonna get set up. We're gonna take one without any props at all. So just taking a moment to get all set up. And then with your next inhale, go ahead and lift the pelvis. Press the tops of the shoulders either into the blanket or into the ground. Lengthen out the inner thighs toward the knees. And then exhale, release. Back down, rest. Let's take either your a pillow, a roll of towel, a block, a ball, and put it at the inner thigh. All right, below. I like to do it not right at the knee. I like to do it a little below the knees because I want the inner thighs to be engaged. So any of those. And then once again, connect to the ground. Take a deep inhale. This time with the exhale, you can press up. Now, give us a little squeeze onto this ball, pillow, whatever block between the inner thighs. And notice the back of the sacrum when you do that. Notice that space at the back of the sacrum when the adductors are engaged. Keep them engaged. Are they both working or only one? Squeeze this between the inner thighs. And then release back down. Take that block or whatever it is out. All right, ready? Once again, either on the ground or maybe you've got the blanket, whatever you've decided to work with. Press the upper arms, the shoulders, upper shoulders down. So the heart starts to lift up. Press into the feet and lift your pelvis. Okay, so keep this pressure that you've got at the upper shoulders. Can you keep the pelvis level? My fingers can touch even those little hip points. And pick up the left knee. Can you do that and keep the pelvis level, even though, you know, the left ASIS drops down slightly. And then put that foot down. Exhale, pick up the other one. Put the right foot down. One more time, can you go left? And if picking this up doesn't work, you're just holding the pose. Left foot goes down, right foot goes up. And then right foot down, there you are, you got both down, inhaling. And then exhale, lower the pelvis, great. If you have a blanket under your shoulders, you might enjoy actually walking towards the blanket, so the blanket will go under the pelvis. Just resting, please. Keeping the knees bent, the feet on the floor. All right, and then let's roll over to one side. Use the arms to push yourself up. We can take a blanket to sit on, and we're going to take Matsyendrasana, what is it, 2, where you take your strap, and you have a small loop in the strap. You're going to take your left leg straight, and your right foot is bridging the knee. Okay, right foot is bridging the knee. If this knee, the right one that's out to the side, has some space under it, then you can bring a blanket and just support that leg, that outer knee. Then take your strap over your extended leg. Take the tail of the strap around, to the outer right hip, the bent knee one. The straight leg arm goes behind you, grabs the strap. The right arm, the bent knee arm, is going to reach forward, grabs the strap. We're twisting. You're twisting towards the straight leg. All right, and then we'll come back to center. You can take the strap off the foot. We'll switch to the second side. So bringing the left foot up so that it isn't all the way up at the inner thigh, it's bridging the knee. And then if you had a blanket on the other side, put it on this side too. Take your strap, round your foot, around the outer left hip, the bent knee side. Take the arm, the right arm behind you, the straight leg arm behind you to grab onto the strap way over at that outer left hip. The other arm reaches forward, grabs the strap, and there's a twist. Twisting toward this straight leg. All right, and then releasing that. Let's straighten both legs. Again, just giving the knees a break there. All right, so I want to take, let me tilt this camera down because I want you to see the support that I'm going to give my outer hip for the Supta Pada Gustasana. I'm going to tilt this down slightly so you can really see it better maybe. I wonder which light is better. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a blanket and fold it in half lengthwise, like that. And I'm going to take another blanket. If you have a bolster might work. You might not need to do the blankets. You could potentially use the bolster instead. I think I'm going to use, if you have 2 blankets, great. If you have 3, I'm going to use 3. If you happen to have that, or maybe you just have some pillows. And then I've got my strap. I'm going to make my loop bigger in my strap. Oh yeah, how big? Depends on the length of the hamstrings, right? So that, I didn't make mine super big because I have pretty long hamstrings. But when I come down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top of my head towards you just so you can kind of see this. See if I can fit into the camera for you. And I'm going to slide these blankets at a bit of a diagonal because they're going to nestle under my right outer greater toe catcher. I have my left foot on a wall. That's nice if it works. It's not imperative. And then I'm going to take the leg up in the strap with my, my hand in the loop, that whole thing. I can feel, so I've got these blankets so that we're going to go in all 3 directions. But when I go this way, when I go out to the right, I really want this support to come under that hip so that when this leg goes out, it's supported. And I don't have to work really hard. I can, because I have my left heel at the wall, that's going to help me, but the support of the bolster or blankets, I could even add 1 more blanket. I think you'll like this. Make sure your support is high enough so that the pelvis is going to stay level. And this bolster blanket is going to help with your pelvis staying level because it's nestled right up under there. So you could use, 3 blankets or 4 blankets. Oh, I really like this part. Okay? So go ahead and get set up. If it works for you to have your left heel at the wall, you could set up with the left heel at the wall. And we'll just start with the right arm in the strap. The blankets, even with the right leg straight, you're gonna feel the blankets. Can you nestle them underneath the right outer hip joint, that right outer greater trochanter, with the leg straight up towards the sky. If your left foot is at a wall, you can reach into your left heel. Otherwise, if your foot isn't at the wall at all, don't sweat it. You're fine. Just lengthen out the whole left leg, all the way from high up towards your left kidney. When you're ready then, you've got your stuff all ready, can you go ahead and take right leg toward the right. You should feel that support of the blankets or pillows or bolster. Keep reaching, if the left foot's at the wall, keep reaching into the wall. Can you, with the right leg out to the right, can you lengthen from the back of your right kidney all the way around through the back of the glute? Then let's inhale and lift the leg back up to vertical. Let's change hands in the strap. So your left hand's gonna come into the strap, right arm out to the side. And then with your next exhale, just begin to take the right leg and please straighten the right knee. Make sure the right knee is completely straight. As you just take the right leg, you're just crossing midline slightly. You don't need a huge amount. I want you to feel the tissue change that's already happening at the right outer knee. And that's part of why I want the right leg to be straight. No micro bends in the right knee, because we want the right knee to really open up. We don't want to have any problems in our right knee, especially the right outer knee. And the back of the sacrum, keep the back of the sacrum on the ground. So the right side of the sacrum should be on the ground. Great. And then let's come back to vertical. And just explore vertical for a moment. Is the right hip away from the right lower rib cage? And then we'll go ahead and bend the knee, take off the strap. And let's either turn your body around or move your blankets to the other side. Whichever you prefer. Whichever works for you, just get set up again so that when you set up on the other side again, those pillows or cushions or blankets or whatever, they're on a diagonal so that they nestle right under your left greater trochanter. Nestle them right up under there. Once you get them all nestled in there, then you can straighten the right leg, bring the left knee up, and go ahead and put your strap up there on your foot. And yeah, like give yourself enough strap so that you can open up the back of that knee. So your left leg will be lengthening up to the sky. Yeah. And you might, Celeste, straighten the knee a little more. There you go. Give yourself more. Yeah. Uh, all right. So now, with the right arm out to the side, let's just start to take the left leg toward the left. And hopefully you feel the support of the pillows, blankets, bolsters, underneath your left hip. And and they support you enough too, so that your pelvis is staying level with the ground. And I'll just remind you where your left kidney is. Your left kidney, which is right, if you went from your belly button and you went straight back, if that would be like basically the bottom of your left kidney would be right in there. So if you know that right at the lower ribs and the bottom of the left, at the back of the navel is the left kidney, and you were going to lengthen from the left kidney all the way at the back body, all the way into that leg. Yeah, do you feel how the leg moves in space? Maybe it became a little closer towards you when you lengthened through the kidney. And then your next inhale, go ahead and lift back up. Now you'll change hands on your strap. Left arm goes out to the side. And we're just gonna try, if we have enough strap, we're gonna try not to bend the knee. And as you bring the leg just towards midline, where do you feel the tissue change happening? And this is where I'm gonna say just a little more straight, Celeste. Yeah. That's good. There you go. It's especially the outer knee. Like I definitely recommend, if you have any knee problems, doing this, especially the crossover, for that, because the lateral hamstring, the outer hamstring, really can tend to shorten. And if we keep a micro bend in the knee all the time, it tends to become chronically short. And oftentimes we do end up with knee problems. Then you'll go back to vertical. Still lengthening from the kidney, out the back of the glute, all the way up the back of the leg. All right, and then you're going to release the strap and release the leg. And then, if you might roll over to one side if you want. I'm going to show you how we're going to use the strap just for a reclined Konasana. I can try to talk you through it too if you don't want to get up. You'll bring the knees to the chest. You'll take the strap around the outer feet and just, I like to just wrap it around my wrists, and I'm just pulling my feet towards my body. My knees are wide apart. This is a reclined Konasana. Breathing still, breathing deeply through the nose. And just allowing yourself to lengthen out toward the knees Just from the pelvis to the knees. All right, and then we're going to take the strap off, and let's bring both feet back to the ground. Can we go back and do the figure 4 stretch again? So we're going to take the little toe side of the right foot to the top of the left thigh. So I have my little toe side there, and then I'm going to shift my weight a little to the left, and then bring the left knee up. Take my hands behind my left hamstring, behind my left thigh, and then use the strength at the top of the left thigh to draw the leg a little closer in. I'm still pressing the little toe side of my foot into my left thigh. All right, let's switch sides. So release that, both feet on the ground, bring the left little toe side of the foot to the top of the right thigh. Shift the weight a little away from that stretch side, so shift the weight to the right. Bring the right knee up. So even as you draw your right thigh with the strength of the right thigh toward you, the lower right shin is completely relaxed. The lower right shin, ankle are not involved. All right, great. And then let's release that. Both feet to the floor. And then one last stretch. I'm going to take my strap. I'm going to make the loop large. I think this is called oh God, now I forgot the name of it. Oh well. You guys probably would be like, what? Doesn't matter then. Okay, 2 blankets. 2 blankets. Those 2 or 3 blankets are gonna go under my pelvis. Then I'm gonna take my strap with the big loop, maybe bigger. I wanna keep the pelvis, remember the back iliac crest, I'm gonna keep that on the blanket, but I'm gonna bring both of my feet wide and into the strap. Not super wide, but they're a little wider than hip distance. And I'm gonna take my arms, keep the crest of the pelvis on the blanket. Urdhva Mukha Paschimottanasana. Not halasana, because I'm not gonna let my pelvis come off of the blankets. I'm gonna keep my pelvis on the blankets, the crest of the pelvis on the blankets, arms overhead, palms toward the sky. And again, the arms don't even have to go to the floor. The arms might be just floating, the legs floating. and the pelvis, the crest of the pelvis, releasing towards the skin at the back body. All right, and then I'll take my strap off my feet, bend my knees, and I'm gonna bring my pelvis off of my blankets, scoot them down, the blankets, and I might use the blankets under my knees for Shavasana. And then you can allow your breath to deepen. Breath traveling in, breath traveling out. Begin to awaken your body to movement and make a mindful transition over to one side. Use your arms as you come back up to sitting. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Let's see, I stopped the recording.